welcome back to the channel. So we are going to mess with this little red Maverick this morning for a little while. So I've got it up for part out to help pay for the black car, and I know kind of what I don't want to sell off this car and what I do want to sell. You know, some things that I'm not letting go really right now are like the lower dash. I'm not letting it go because I still don't know if I'm going to swap the Comet interior to the Maverick dash, and I'm not letting go of these vinyl top trim pieces because we might actually be switching the Comet to a vinyl top looking car. Not necessarily a vinyl top on it, but we might paint like the top satin black. And I'm not letting go of any of the window trims. So in case I ever want to put mine back to glass, or maybe I am putting certain windows of mine back to glass, and I want to have spare trim. You know, I don't want to have to go looking for it if something happens to mine or it gets damaged. So have somebody interested in a couple small parts. I'm going to try to dig some more parts out of this thing and take it apart a little bit more. I need to get these bumpers off, these small bumpers off, take this one to the shop and get this thing in primer, maybe go ahead and paint it gloss black or like a silver, like a generic color, so that way it's worth more. And I can list it online and go ahead and sell it. It needs like epoxy primer and some flat wheeling. It's definitely not, you're not bringing the chrome back. Like, it definitely needs repair and body shop work, but it's easier for me to do that than for you to buy it and have to pay somebody to do it. And I can also show you a video on how to bring back, you know, a rusty bumper, maybe, you know, paint it instead of buying a new one or having it chromed. So that's what we're going to work on, I think, this morning for a few minutes. I'm waiting for a call for it from a transportation company, so we're getting something delivered to the shop. And I figured I'd come out here and kill a little time so that I'm not, you know, getting too deep in on the Comet. We painted the Comet last night, all of the front stuff for yesterday afternoon. So I'm going to work on getting some of this out. I really want to go ahead and get this dash out, the speedometer out, and all that out, because there's no windshield, so it's just taking a beating from the rain. And like I said, I wouldn't mind getting these parts to the shop and or in storage somewhere and not having them just sit out here. So let's get at it and let's see what we can find, and if I see anything cool or interesting, I'll show you. So pulling this lower dash tray out. I think this car is a 69.5. If y'all can confirm that, let me know. And I think it's a 69.5 because I believe if the ignition is on the dash like that, not on the column, I believe that was a 69.5. But yeah, we'll pull this out. Have somebody's interested in ignition. Not sure why. I guess maybe it's better to rebuild the factory ones than to buy the new aftermarket junk. I don't really know. But we're just going to cut these wires because I don't encourage anybody to use wiring from the 70s. And then we'll get this thing out of here. I often pull these parts like this and I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't sell this. You know, how about if I wanted to put, you know, this all back in my car with the lower tray and, you know, the factory ignition. It would, you know, it's a cool standalone unit. You could have this piece and it be factory, and you still have a lightweight titanium, you know, steering column, because you don't need, obviously, the steering column for the key in this situation with the 69.5. But then I hold this thing and I'm like, absolutely not. The weight on this thing is absolutely freaking ridiculous how heavy this you know, unit is, because it's like all made out of cast metal. So send some pictures of this to the buyer and see if they still want this thing shipped out. This lower dash tray is really in good shape. It's just broke right there. I don't know why it would be broke right there, but it is. You don't really see it. But this is going to be, from what I read online, they had two versions of these. So I believe they had a fiberglass version and then possibly a metal version, if I'm correct, or maybe it was fiberglass and then plastic. Y'all can correct me in the comments below, all you Maverick OG guys. But this one appears to, how it's broke, it's pretty fair to say that this is a fiberglass unit. So unless they made a plastic one, I think this is going to be the lightest option you're going to get for an OEM under dash tray. You know, plastic one would probably be lighter if they made that, but I'm not sure if they made that. So y'all let me know if this is the lightest one that's available, which it still has a decent amount of weight in it. I mean, it's thick fiberglass. I think it's probably, I don't know if it's heavier or lighter than my Comet lower dash piece, because for the Comet we have the glove box on the passenger side and the air vents and all of it, so it's a little bit more work to get it in and out of the car. That's the reason why I was thinking about making a switch to this one, because this would close my bottom out where it would look, you know, like we have a complete car, but it would be very easy to get in and out. And the one for the Comet with the glove box, it's like really it's just more brittle to get it in and out, because it's like cracked above the glove box door where somebody had just split it into pass, and it's just harder. It has a lot more little screws that go into it versus this one. So that's when I was thinking about switching to the Maverick one. So I'm gonna see what else I can get out. I can't remember 100% how this dash come out. I took mine out and painted it. I know we got screws across the top. I know we got some in the sides, but then I can't remember what else is involved. I want to get the speedometer out to save it before it's too far gone. Obviously the dash pad is already 100% gone, so it's trash, but I'd love to get the actual dash out of the car and get it put into primer and paint, maybe either satin black or gloss black for somebody. But let's get this cluster out real fast. Maybe I have some new guys to the channel, I'm not really sure. You know, the younger generation like me that's never worked on this stuff, if you're trying to take out your lower one, you literally have one screw right here in the center bracket, and then you have two screws on the end that go up inside of it. So you have two screws there, and then you have two screws down there, and that's the only thing that holds this lower tray in. So this lower tray is really easy to come out, and I believe this is going to be like 69.5 to 71, 72 in there somewhere. Mine's a 74 and it's got a glove box, but mine is also a Comet. And on your cluster, you know, just in case us younger guys, we never worked on these. I mean, these things were produced before we were even born. I was born in 87, and this thing is, you know, possibly a 69 and a half. So they're pretty easy to work on. They're not hard to figure out, but it's a whole different ball game than the stuff that we work on every day at the shop, because every day at the shop it's like all clips and you have to just pull on everything. And if you start pulling on stuff in these older cars like this, you're going to shatter and break everything. So most of the time all these older cars have Phillips screws, you know, or standard nuts and bolts that hold everything together. You're not going to need no metric on, you know, this car to take it apart. Now my car is put back together with a ton of metric. I prefer metric over standard, but to take it apart, all you're going to need is standard tools. So your speedometer should just be these two bolts or screws right up here in the top, and then it should roll out from the top. It has some little, not clips really, but some little tabs on the bottom that you don't want to break, and then you should be able to get to the back side and get it unplugged or just cut the wires. Now I think we do have, this is it was a little bit of a bear to get out of them bottom clips. I don't think I broke anything. But I think we do have a solid cable that goes into the back of this guy. For the speedometer, it's kind of one crappy thing about these older cars. So instead of prying on it and fighting with it, and I'm not sticking my hands up in this old dash, I don't like creepy crawling stuff, so I try to only put my hands where I can see them. So therefore, I think I'm going to try to wiggle this dash back. I'm gonna start grabbing the screw bolts out the bottom, then the ones across the top are easy, and see if we can just get this dash to just come forward just a little bit, so we can kind of, you know, maybe just leave this in there and take it out. I mean, transmission and motor is gone out of this car. I'm pretty sure it's that cable right down there that's through the floor, runs through the speedometer, because when we move the speedometer it obviously moves, but we don't want to break anything. So I'm gonna try to go ahead and loosen this dash up a little and see if we can just roll this dash out, maybe with this hooked up to it. We need to also go ahead and get all this out, because this stuff is really brittle on these. If this thing even turns, these will just pull off. So it took me a while to figure that out when I was taking mine apart and not trying to tear anything up. You can see the chrome is just disintegrated off of it, turned all green, but these are just going to pull right off if you're new to this. So save these, because these are probably gonna be harder to find. You can paint them. Same thing, let's see here, the wiper heads, I believe they were the same way. I think they just pulled right off, if that's correct. I don't know, I don't want too much force. That one spins out. So that one I know with a little groove spins out, and maybe this one I think spins out too, because it has grooves, but I don't remember how you pull these things off, because I know they come off. I did it on my car. It's just been, you know, 2 years or so since I did this. So let me get this dash and bolt and try to rotate this. All right, so y'all check this out. One thing when I've been working on this car, I've always seen this plastic back here, and I'm just like, whatever. you know, maybe trash. So it was just irritating me while I was working, and I was like, what is this? This appears to be factory seatbelts still in the package, never used. The buckles are buckled up. They've literally been never used, it looks like. So I'm very interested now into getting this back seat out of here and seeing what condition these bottoms are, because they look like they're in good shape. Like, not a lot of them, they could be cleaned right up. How freaking amazing is that? Original, unused, dealer, you know, from the dealership, never taken out of their plastic seatbelts. I guess people back in '69 did not use seatbelts. So that is one thing that I'm highly interested in getting out very, very soon. Both sides are literally still in there. And on this car, there are going to be other brackets. I forgot. There's going to be a couple brackets up inside the dash that go to the firewall, or at least there was on my 74 Comet, that need to be taken off in order to get the dash out. So maybe just drop this column, just one more thing that's done, I guess. You know, just kind of spend a few minutes taking things apart. What is going on with that, y'all? So there's holes in the dash right there. It looks like there used to be something square, maybe right there. Was that factory? And if, you know, what was there, if it was factory, or did somebody maybe put like some kind of CB mount or something up there? You know, of course we got the Maverick emblem over there, but what went right there in them little spots? What could that have been? Let me know in the comments. So we got the cluster out. You have just two plugs like this, and this plug comes out. For this piece right here, I thought it just unplugged, but I wiggled it and couldn't get it to do anything really, and I didn't want to break anything because this is really brittle. So I took these screws out right here, and then it just kind of fell apart. But this piece actually didn't come out the cluster. So I'm thinking that that definitely does just pull apart. So you can see right here, here's what it looks like. So it looks like it 100% just pulls apart, and maybe just me turning it around loosen it up. So there's what your plug looks like for the back of your cluster. You get your cluster unplugged. On this thing, to get it out, it was not wanting to come out, and I forgot about this, is these little plastic down here, these supports, they want to grind on this right here. So you can see some green on that. They want to catch on this edge right here. So it's a really tight fit. So when you think that it won't come out, if you look from the bottom and take something and just kind of gently, you know, wiggle this metal, because it's not that sturdy, then you'll be able to get the cluster out. So the only two is it right there, is it just goes down and hooks in, and then, you know, the two screws straight up. So then are your prongs on the bottom that hook your cluster in just like that. But there's our cluster, original cluster. And they do make replacement lenses for these things, so you're good to go on that. I had actually purchased replacement lenses for my other one that's inside. I'm not going to throw that in the box with that. I'm going to put this in here somewhere where it's a little more protected, because this is delicate as crap. I restored mine on that one with brand new lenses, so you can too. We also have the original radio out of the car, but we pulled that out like in one of the first videos y'all probably seen, is when I had got the radio out. And I do have a spare cluster piece for these also. So here's one right here. And if you need to contact me, my information is always in the description below, my email, and I can even, you know, paint some of this stuff for you before I ship it. Somebody's definitely got a hold of this one with spray paint, but we'll put this one with this, because I need to organize these in like some Tupperware stuff. But this is my original glove box out of my Comet. So it's made out of actual cardboard, and it's in amazing shape. I was gonna put it back in, but like I said, I might be switching to the Maverick bottom. So I do have a factory glove box if I decide I want to get rid of it. I feel like I've had a lot of amazing cars, like a lot of little pieces that are not, you know, broken.